Hey folks, Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, September the 4th. We'll call this take two. Shot this video yesterday and lost audio halfway through it. So hopefully, if you're seeing this, the audio is going to work all day. Either that or I'm going to send you guys all to lip reading school and I won't reshoot these anymore. You guys can learn to lip read. Down here at the dam area, caught them pretty good today. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 916.68, about 0.32 down from normal pool for this time of year. They are going to steadily drop the lake for the next couple of months so they get it back down to 915. I think November 1st is when we're supposed to be back to 915. So they will continue to drop the lake from this point forward. Water temperature, it's a little bit cooler. It was 81 degrees first thing this morning. Just pulled off the water down here at the dam and I was showing 83.5. Yesterday in the Kimberling City area, same sort of deal. It was about 80 degrees when we took off and about 82, 83 when we came back in. So water has cooled down a little bit. Shorter days, a little bit cooler at night. Of course, with this direct sun and the heat today, it'll probably warm back up to 85 by the end of the day, but it has been cooler in the mornings and does have the fish moving a little bit more. If you guys are coming down, so you're going to fish the lower end of the lake where I am today. We had a pretty good day today. You want to start off with the topwater. That's what we did today. Spook, Sammy, Whopper, Plopper, Surge Shad, whatever your favorite topwater is. Working really good. You got to kind of look for the fish. Most of the fish I've been catching down here by the dam area on top have been related to trees. I think they're the fish that are suspended down in the trees later in the day. Shad come through and they will start to raise up and you can catch them first thing in the morning. Our topwater bite actually lasted a while today. I think it was because it was a little bit hazy. We caught them up until, started at 7, we caught them up to about 8:15, 8:30 on top. Had some decent fish too. Most of them, again, were around trees. Most of the trees top out between 10 and 20 seem to be the ones we were catching them off of. Not necessarily the ones that top off around 30 or 40. But definitely look for them around trees. There is some shad moving back into the creeks with this cooler water temperature. They're not all the way to the back, so they're about halfway back. So that kind of tells you where the fish are going to be. From there, we fished a drop shot, shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm, chompers drop shot worm. All those are working. Catching them down here both in treetops, same locations we're catching them on the topwater, and we're catching them out on gravel points. I hear rumors that guys are seeing a thermocline. I've not seen it real clear. I've seen what looks like the beginnings of a thermocline around 30 feet, but we are starting to catch fish on gravel. Yesterday in the Kimberling City area, most of the fish we caught were out on gravel between 28 to 30 foot deep. The ones we caught today were in treetops between about 22 and 35. So same basic depth range, just depends. You can catch some on gravel, you can catch some on trees. We had some nice Kentuckys doing it today. We had some really good thumper Kentuckys out of treetops today, and we had some good Kentuckys yesterday off of gravel. So the drop shot's definitely a bite. And then the rest of the fish we caught today were on a Jewel Pro Spider Jig, 7/16 through basically bass whacker and Okeechobee blue today. Matched up with a speed craw, fishing it on 45 degree chunk rock, I guess is the best way to put it. Kind of chunk rock, ledge rock. Had some smaller largemouth, some decent Kentuckys, had a couple of smallmouth, had about a 3.5 pound smallmouth that was in about 4 foot of water. So there are fish moving up shallow. The key for us today was definitely keying on shade, trying to keep the bait on the shady banks. Seemed to be where we caught more fish than on the sunny banks. And most of the fish were in, I'd say 7 to 15 foot deep. I had the boat in about 20 to 22. And we were basically thrown towards the bank, working it down the ledges, and that's where those fish came from. Mid-lake area, Kimberling City, where I was yesterday, same deal, guys. You got to have topwater tied on early. Yesterday was kind of a disappointing topwater bite. We had a lot of swats. We only caught a couple of fish, but you want to spook a Sammy, Whopper, Plopper, Surge Shad tied on. Again, around treetops, bluff ends, back in the creeks, those sort of areas, those locations seem to be where these topwater fish are. If you see shad around, make sure you keep your topwater handy even throughout the day. We had a couple of blow-ups today after 10 o'clock just because the shad were around the surface and the fish were chasing them. So make sure you keep your topwater handy. Drop shot again, like I said, we caught most of the fish we caught yesterday in Kimberling on shad-shaped cut tail, and UV drop shot worm on gravel runouts and gravel humps. Most of them are between 25 and 35 feet deep. You'll see one or two on the bottom, but when you set the hook, you'll have a bunch of them come up, so you know there's more there. You got to hunt and peck a little bit, but we are starting to catch them off of gravel. And the fish on the gravel seem to be a little bit more aggressive. I don't know if it's because we haven't harassed them all summer long, but it really seems that those fish that are on the gravel are a lot more aggressive, and they're hitting the bait a lot harder, and you're getting a few more bites out there than we are in the trees. We did catch a few in trees yesterday, but the gravel bite was definitely a lot better for us yesterday in the Kimberling City area. And then a pro spider jig. Been catching them on a jewel pro spider jig, 7/16, Okeechobee blue, bass whacker, green pumpkin candy, matched with either a speed craw or a beaver. And again, on these chunk rock, ledgy type banks, both back in the creeks and some of them on the main lake too, but it seems like that bite is a little bit better back in the creeks. You're not going to load the boat doing this, but you know, if you're tired of drop shotting, like I've been getting a little tired of drop shotting, the jig bite is starting to turn on, and it should get better as this water cools. So we're definitely catching some fish on jigs on these chunk rock banks, and we're catching them around boat docks as well. So hit those shady pockets on the boat docks and you can catch a few. Most of them, again, Kimberling City, you're 10 to 15, 10 to 20 foot deep is where the fish are. They'll be a little bit shallower under the boat dock, so keep that in mind as well. Go up into the James, and again, topwater first thing in the morning. Whopper plopper, spook, Sammy, surge shad, all those are working. Again, we're looking around trees. Some of the ones up the James have been a little weird. They've been actually out in the middle, because I think the shad are a little bit further along up the James as far as moving towards the backs, and they've been back in those creeks like Ants Creek, Piney Creek, Woolly Creek. They seem to be gravitated more towards the middle of the creek, and if there's any trees around in the middle of the creek, that's where we're really catching some better fish. But you'll actually see the shad moving down the middle of the creek, working their way towards the back. So have your top water tied on, and again, leave it on the deck. Leave it there. These fish are coming up busting shad. You get a sunny, calm day like we've got today, and you'll have fish bust shad all day long. If you've got a top water handy and you can reach them, you can usually pick up a better fish doing that. Jig bite has been phenomenal up the James. The Jewel Pro Spider jig, Okeechobee blue, green pumpkin candy, bass whacker. You guys know the colors. And again, on those 45-degree chunk rock banks seems to be where we're catching most of those fish on a spider jig. A little bit shallower up the James because it's got a little bit more color. Most of them are in that 8 to 15 foot range instead of the 10 to 20 foot range. But back in the creeks is a lot stronger there than it is on the main lake with the smaller jig. We are catching some on the Jewel football jig too. 5/8 ounce. It's got the bigger skirt, a little bit heavier jig. Putting the big super speed craw on that one. Peanut butter and jelly has been a good color. Okeechobee blue and bass whacker, all those have been good colors on the 5/8 ounce football jig. And those fish are coming on main lake gravel mixed with rock points. And most of them are 18 to about 25. I haven't really caught anything as deep as 30, but that 18 to 25 foot range. And those fish are biting a little bit later in the day. If you're not a drop shotter, you don't want to go out and drop shot, head up the James, throw a football jig, because we're catching quite a few fish on a football jig up the James right now. Go up into the White River, and the White River is still fishing great. We're catching a lot of fish up the White River a lot of different ways. Top water first thing in the morning, spook, Sammy, whopper plopper, surge shad. Again, around trees, bluff ends, in the guts of creeks, just off of the guts of creeks, catching a lot of fish. Doing that, you just basically got to look for the shad. You find the shad and the fish will be around. The fish will start feeding once that sun peaks up over the hill. From there, we're drop shotting, catching a lot of fish on a shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm, chompers drop shot worm, in these deeper trees and on these gravel runouts. So you've got a couple options with a drop shot pretty much all over the lake. We're catching them tops of trees that top out between 25 and 35. Overall depth doesn't matter. And then out on those gravel points or on gravel humps, I caught them as shallow as 18 last week up the White. So 18 to 35 foot deep with those drop shot baits that we talk about all the time, and a lot of fish starting to show up out there. And again, those drop shot fish up the White are kind of like the ones in Kimberling City. They're a lot more aggressive than the ones in the trees, mainly because we haven't messed with them all summer long. So they tend to be a lot more aggressive. You get a lot more bites out there on the gravel. They're not really concentrated yet, but you can catch several out there. You can catch quite a few. Jig bite is strong up there too. Did really well with the Pro Spider jig, both on chunk rock banks like we're doing all over the lake, 10 to 20 feet deep, back in the creeks. You know, not necessarily the last channel swing, but at least halfway back and further back, we're catching them on a jig, and then we're catching them on the football jig as well, out on those gravel runouts too. Gravel and rock mixed points have been really strong with a 5/8 ounce football jig, peanut butter and jelly, green pumpkin candy, even watermelon candy matched up with that larger speed crawl. The super speed crawl has been really strong up the white this past week, and I expect that bite to just get better and better and better as the water cools off and as more fish start to move up shallow. Guys, we are finally past Labor Day, which is outstanding. Little celebration there. And we've got the lake back. I mean, very little boat traffic last couple of days. It'll still be busy on the weekends, but as far as having the throngs of humanity here running up and down the lake, it's definitely a lot calmer, a lot quieter on the lake. Fishing is getting a lot better. I would say that probably over the last 2 weeks, the fishing's improved by 25 or 30%. And I see it only getting better with, we've got a lot more fish that are shallow. We've got fish on gravel now for drop shotting. We've got fish in the trees. We got a pretty decent topwater bite going. It's not lights out, but it's a good topwater bite. You can count on 2 or 3 good fish every morning on a topwater, and then some shorts to go with it. But guys, if you're coming down, if you want to learn how to drop shot this month, we're going to still be drop shotting. Probably all the way into October we'll be drop shotting. Now's the time to come. You want to learn how to throw a football jig. Football jig bite is just now getting started, and it's going to get better and better as the water cools down. Topwater bite's going to be getting better as well as the water cools down. So if you have interest in learning how to do any of those, how we find fish, how we look at our graph, what we're seeing on the graph, now is the time to book a trip and come down, go out, catch some fish, and maybe learn something. But if you're thinking about it, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either book online or shoot me an email. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. We'll get hooked up, figure out dates and times, go out, catch some fish, have a good time. But guys, thanks for watching the videos. Take a minute to subscribe if you haven't done that. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.